Good evening. I call this regular meeting of the governing board of the Senate Bill 1882 Dual Language Community Lab School Partnership on Tuesday, August 23rd, 2022 at 6 p.m. Notice is hereby given that the members of the University of Texas at San Antonio Senate Bill 1882 Dual Language Community Lab Schools Partnership Board will conduct a regular meeting of the board held at a physical location through video conference. This meeting is accessible to the public. Any member of the public may participate in this board meeting by attending at the physical location or connecting to the Zoom link, both printed in the agenda. This meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. And now I'll call the roll for a quorum. I'm here. Dr. Katz?
Here.
Good to hear you.
Yeah, good to see you.
Dr. Villarreal? Mrs. Castro?
Here.
Mrs. Contreras?
Here.
I will verify that a quorum is present to conduct this meeting, and may the record reflect such. We'll now recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. And we will look
The right
that way.
outside.
Oh, yeah. I pledge
Pledge
allegiance
allegiance
to
to
the
the
flag
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, are there any citizens to be heard? Okay. Okay, we'll now move to item number 6 on the agenda, board presentations. We will now have a quarterly update of the 1882 Dual Language Partnership presented by Executive Director of the Dual Language Partnership, Dr. Juanito Santos, and the Assistant Director, welcome, Dr. Sara de la Garza.
Bienvenidos a todos.
Gracias.
Good evening, members of the governing board, distinguished guests, and community guests. Welcome to the first quarterly 1882 Dual Language Community Lab Schools Partnership Board meeting. My name is Dr. Juanita Santos, and I'm the Executive Director of the partnership. As you know, the 1882 partnership has allowed UTSA to partner with San Antonio ISD in operating 4 outstanding dual language schools. With additional access to financial and accountability incentives, this past year, Irving, Twain, and Bonham Academies worked to bring innovation to their existing dual language models. In May of 2022, TEA approved the addition of Gravener Elementary. I would like to introduce Dr. Sara de la Garza, who is the newly appointed UTSA Assistant Director of Dual Language Partnerships. Dr. de la Garza has been on board for 2 to 3 weeks, and we haven't stopped since. She's already making a huge impact on the success of the partnership. I would like for her to share a little bit about herself and her experience with all of you. She'll also be translating for any bilingual community members that we may have. Dr. de la Garza?
Thank you, Dr. Santos. Good evening, members of the governing board, chairman of the board, Dr. Middleton, distinguished guests, and community guests. My name is Dr. Sara de la Garza, and I am honored to serve as UTSA's new Assistant Director of Dual Language Partnerships. I was born and raised in Laredo, Texas, in the Azteca, one of Laredo's historic neighborhoods. Before I share my accomplishments and my journey, I'd like to take a moment to thank my family for being extraordinarily supportive in my career and educational endeavors. I would not be here today if it were not for their sacrifices and selflessness. I'll always be grateful to my mother, my grandmother, my 2 brothers, and my stepdad, Joe. In fact, my grandma and one of my brothers are celebrating their 90th and 21st birthday today. I've always had an interest in education, but I'd like to say that it's been a tradition passed on by generations. My grandmother, Inda Granados, started as a parent volunteer at J.C. Martin Elementary in Laredo in the 1970s when my mom attended there. Many years later, when my brothers attended the same school, both my mom and my grandma were dedicated parent volunteers. And I'm so proud to share that my mother, Sara Gonzalez, and my grandmother, Hilda Granados, are the first mother-daughter pair recognized by the State Board of Education as recipients of the Hero for Children Award. And I share a bit about my family's history because one of my goals as assistant director is to support our partner campuses, not only achieving academic excellence for our emergent bilinguals, but also to foster that life-changing family engagement. I had the privilege of attending Stanford University from 2008 to 2012 as a Questbridge Scholar and was blessed to receive full financial aid for all 4 years. I received a Bachelor of Arts with departmental honors in comparative studies of race and ethnicity. And I began teaching high school social studies here in San Antonio at Brooks Academy in 2012. And during my second year, I became the social studies department chair and served in that role until I completed my master's degree from Trinity University and obtained my principal certification in 2015. From there, I went on to work as an instructional specialist, supporting the campus's English and social studies teachers. And my leadership journey changed when I joined the Jubilee Academy's district as their assistant principal at Jubilee Highland Hills. And shortly afterwards, I was accepted to UT Austin in 2017 to their PhD program in educational leadership and policy. And during that time, that's when I became assistant director of bilingual and ESL program supporting the district's emergent bilinguals in the San Antonio, Austin, and Kingsville regions until 2018. Then while at UT Austin, I worked as a graduate research assistant for several years for the Teacher Turnover Project. And I also worked as a teaching assistant in the Cooperative Superintendency Program. I had the honor and privilege of working with Dr. Pedro Rodriguez. I was his advisee and teaching assistant, but most importantly, he served as my dissertation chair. I defended my dissertation, A Snapshot of Texas Bilingual Preparation Programs, in April 2022 and graduated this past May with my PhD in educational leadership and policy. My dissertation was a multi-institutional case study analyzing the program structures of support for bilingual candidates. And I also analyzed how programs address cultural and linguistic diversity in their coursework. And I am so excited to bring my program evaluation, my research and administrative experience to this position. And as I've shared before, with the goal of elevating the power of dual language education to the local, state, and national levels. So, thank you.
As you can see, she comes well qualified, and we have certainly leveraged her talents. I'd like to begin with celebraciones. I was going to say felicidades. Felicidades y celebraciones. I'd like to begin in the summer of 2020. Dr. Belinda Bustos Flores and Doctora Olivia Hernandez met with a team of principals and leaders to discuss partnering with UTSA and dual language schools in San Antonio ISD. Today, we celebrate 1 year of that particular semillita or seed taking root. In the fall of 2020, we launched the first dual language community lab schools, one of the first of its kind in the state. We have launched 9 research proposals were submitted in the areas of improving instruction for emergent bilinguals and dual language learners. We have clinical teacher placements on these dual language campuses, and we prepare them for higher and a successful career in teaching by serving under master bilingual teachers. We have established a governing board led by experienced and accessible educators whose input has been invaluable. TEA has just approved the 4th campus into the partnership, Graebner Elementary. And most importantly, we have hired a new principal at Bonham Academy, Mr. Jeff Price, who's here tonight. And already doing a fantastic job. I'm glad you're here, sir. This year, UTSA has given their time, talents, and resources Currently, UTSA faculty is working toward contributing to the current body of research surrounding emergent bilinguals and preparing bilingual teachers. And now we'd like to look at a little bit about the metrics used to measure the success of the partnership.
So as per the partnership agreement, there are three main areas that we look at: academic improvement, organizational strength, and financial health. So this year's the campus principals, Dr. Santos and I, will be setting goals focused on positive student outcomes. However, this year didn't come without its challenges, including teacher shortages, the lack of substitutes, and lingering fears of contracting COVID-19. But nevertheless, these school leaders should be commended for their courage, their creativity, and their strength. And when we talk about academic improvement, we're talking about the overall campus rating assigned by the Texas Education Agency. And this year, we will be using several data points, including last year's STAR data and the beginning of year MAP data to inform the goals for this academic year. Then when we talk about organizational health, there are three primary metrics that we use to measure the charter fidelity. And this includes the average daily attendance of 95% or better, a student attrition rate at or below 10%, and the parent and teacher survey measures at the campus level that meet or exceed the district average, I apologize. Then last but not least, when we talk about financial health, we understand that the school will demonstrate good use of the funds and will demonstrate that health through these district-led audits that are conducted by district officials and by monthly reconciliation of the budgets with the executive director and the campus principals. The principals and UTSA leaders met and will meet weekly to conduct campus walkthroughs, engage in principal learning walks through their colleagues' campuses, schedule professional development sessions, problem solving, reconciling the budgets, and reimagining the data analysis protocols. The 80-20 dual language model quickly gains momentum, and one of the primary areas we will focus on this year is fidelity of program implementation.
Thank you. In terms of academic improvement, STAR scores are used as a metric. TEA has released official STAR scores. The following chart demonstrates this year's campus ratings. Bonham Academy, a B. Congratulations. Irving Dual Language, a D and moving forward. Plain Dual Language Academy, an A. And Grosvenor Elementary, a C and moving forward. Unfortunately, leaders of these campuses, particularly Irving Academy, had classrooms that were taught by long-term subs all year due to the lack of teacher applicants. We all know the impact that this has on academic achievement. This year, I'm happy to announce that all classrooms at Irving are full and with certified teachers. And I want to thank Ms. Almanza for her efforts in making sure these classrooms were filled by certified bilingual teachers. We do have some vacancies that we are currently actively interviewing for at other campuses. So if you know anyone who is certified, send them my way. Several pieces of legislation has passed in the recent years that have focused on the improvement of academics. And those are House Bill 3, House Bill 1525, and House Bill 4545. We believe that we have also added strategies for meeting the needs of our students. I would like to now take a minute to introduce the principals of the 1882 campuses and outline their budgets. Yeah, sorry. Can I click it? Yeah, there we go. We are thrilled to welcome Mr. Jeff Price, the newly appointed principal of Bonham Academy. He has served in San Antonio ISD since 2015, and most recently, he served as the principal of Tafoya Middle School. At this time, I'd like to invite him up to share a few words. Did you see his face? To share a few words with us.
Good evening. Thank you for having me here. It's an honor to be part of this group. I'm going to try to get myself in frame. I look forward to working with the 1882 partners with UTSA to improve our dual language processes and the access that we have for all of our students. I was particularly drawn to join this partnership because of the dual language nature of it. I am a very social justice driven individual. That's how I sort of lead campuses, and to be a part of a dual language program that not only elevates languages, it elevates cultures and gives everyone a voice. And I'm looking forward to this year expanding on that through our work with UTSA and Dr. Santos and Dr. De La Garza. So, y también entiendo mucho más que algo. So tengo que practicar todo el año.
El año, todo el año,
So,
cada día.
Sí.
Jeff. Thank you, Jeff, for coming up. I'd like to share a little bit about Bonham's projected expenditures. So Bonham has been awarded $641,075. Mr. Price and his team have allocated these funds to best meet the needs of the campus as a whole. And as you can see, they have hired a senior coordinator, an operations network employee, an instructional coach, an additional assistant principal. And then, of course, they have to pay for the coach's stipend, a halftime art teacher, a supplemental teacher, and substitutes for teachers, right? Okay. And other expenditures that are listed below. Next, we have Miss Olivia Almanza Peña with Urban Academy. Urban Dual Language Academy. And so, Miss Almanza Peña, are you on our Zoom today? I don't see her there. I think she had a prior engagement, but Miss Almanza leads a campus of 525 students, pre-K through 8th grade. It is a dual language wall-to-wall campus, and these demographics are changing daily. So they may not reflect exactly what's happening, but we have students who are enrolling daily. Ms. Almanza and her leadership team have allocated $466,689 this year. This is in addition to their district funds. They have allocated that to an instructional coach, the instructional coach stipend, a reading and math interventionist, an instructional assistant, a stipend for the yearbook sponsor, and 2 for substitutes. And then additional technology, field trips, travel, extra pay. She's also spent funds on Sharon Wells math and Leader in Me, a social emotional learning curriculum. I'd like to introduce you to Mr. David Garcia, the principal of Twain Dual Language Academy. And I do see Mr. Garcia on Zoom. Sir, do you have anything to share with us tonight?
Thank you, everyone, for joining me. Thank you for joining us, not me. It's not my meeting, but thank you for joining us. Just excited to be part of this group, and we're excited everything, the work that we're doing with UTSA. It's very gratifying. It's also very motivating. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for being with us tonight. So again, Twain has 525 students, and that is rising by the day. They serve pre-K through 8th grade students. It is another dual language wall-to-wall campus that is doing very well. Again, 1882 funds allocated to Twain are $535,304 with an instructional coach added, an instructional coach stipend, and 2 instructional assistants. Ms. Rebecca De Leon is the leader and principal of Graebner Elementary and soon to be Graebner Community School. We're working on changing the name to Community School. So welcome, Rebecca De Leon. And Ms. De Leon had a prior engagement tonight, but I do want to share that Ms. De Leon leads the largest elementary in San Antonio ISD with 707 students and enrolling every day, and they're snug as a bug, especially in pre-K. And so we are looking to meet those numbers so we can get some additional allocations on that campus. But again, she is the newly added principal and campus to the program and already doing a great job on that campus.
Okay.
She is allocated $420,941 of 1882 funds. With those funds, her leadership team has allocated funds for instructional coach, an instructional coach stipend, an assistant principal, and 5 instructional assistants.
I wanted to take this moment to congratulate Ms. Rebecca De Leon and her faculty and her staff. The Texas Education Agency approved their application to become an inter-district charter, and they're now the newest member of the Dual Language Community Lab Schools Network. If you haven't heard Ms. De Leon's vision for the community school model, definitely stay tuned for the upcoming months. She and her staff are so inspiring and are so dedicated to the community school model. And Ms. De Leon's vision for the school has a focus on the cultural arts.
Fantastic.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
And now moving on, one of the major components of the partnership agreement is research. So UTSA faculty have the opportunity to conduct research addressing the campus pillars. And we are pleased to announce that 13 UTSA faculty have submitted research proposals and 9 are currently in progress at the various 1882 campuses. And we have asked 4 of the professors to share a summary of their work on these campuses. So at this time, I'd like to introduce Dr. Catherine Henderson.
Muy buenas noches a todos. Qué gusto estar aquí con ustedes. Es un honor poder participar en esta colaboración entre la Universidad de Texas San Antonio y con SAISD. Pues por mi parte, tengo también a reconocer el principal de Twain, el David Garcia, who has been incredibly wonderful and supportive at the school level with the kinds of supports that we can provide teachers as we intend to grow together. So the secondary oral language development project actually what came out of the community as a need that they were identified, and we were trying to provide supports para el desarrollo del lenguaje oral al nivel secundaria, right? This year, very exciting, we're launching 2 additional projects, again, with the support of the school. One working with a Mandarin-speaking Chinese student, collaborating between the parent, the researcher, and the teacher to work on inclusive pedagogies in the classroom with students with diverse linguistic repertoires participating in Spanish-English dual language, as well as I'm embarking on what has been pretty much my dream since I graduated from UT Austin and got my PhD, which is to start a longitudinal study that can track linguistic repertoires, identity formation, ideologies over time. Y mi hija, Casia, va a ser participante en el propio estudio porque también soy padre de familia en la comunidad. So it's a wonderful journey to be on, and I'm so grateful to be here and have support from all the wonderful leaders in this endeavor. Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much, Dr. Henderson, for sharing that update. And now I'd like to call on Dr. Felicia Castro Villarreal.
She might be on Zoom.
She might be on Zoom. Okay.
You might want to see if she's on Zoom.
Dr. Castro Villarreal, are you online?
Just get
Should
Dr.
be.
Rodriguez.
Alrighty. Well, now then, I'd like to bring up Dr. Maria Arreguin and Dr. Ileana Alanis to give their research update.
Yeah, she'll bring it.
Been too many Zoom meetings.
Is it?
I'll survive.
All right.
Buenas noches, pues brevemente aquí, mi nombre es María Guadalupe.
Ay,
Ay,
no se preocupe.
Well, as we're setting it up, I'm Dr. Yana Lani, Professor of Childhood Education at UTSA. And I'll let Maria introduce herself.
Both of us are in the interdisciplinary learning and teaching departments. And I see Dr. Olivia Hernandez, she was instrumental in connecting us, to San Antonio ISD administrators and teachers at Mark Twain Academy have been really, really supportive. I agree with Dr. Henderson. They have been enthusiastic about, the approach that we bring. And in this case, we're looking at developmentally appropriate, intersecting with dual language development. Basically, we're looking at an interdisciplinary biliteracy sequence. And it brings together inquiry and the idea of play. So that's nothing new, right? We all know that to learn, children need to feel like they're playing and they don't even realize that they're learning. What we have is again, a very enthusiastic team at Mark Twain. I don't know why I step on, but let me put that.
We are working with the pre-K teachers at Mark Twain Elementary, all 5 of them. And like Maria said, we are looking at what is developmentally appropriate when you're working with culturally and linguistically diverse children, particularly in preschool.
Yeah, so in a nutshell, a summary of our activities includes observations. We're closely working with the teachers in implementing 3 phases of an interdisciplinary approach. It all begins with hands-on learning, with the role of the teacher as a key model of rich language, and as well as an emphasis on oracy. We do believe that makes a big difference in what children acquire, just like the literature says. Dr. Escamilla tells us that talk is practice for writing, right? And so for young children, it just makes sense to begin playing and listening and speaking. And so as we do this is a sample of what we've been doing over there, looking for insects. Children draw, that's the phase of writing, and then they read about it. Here we have them planting flowers. We have teachers such as Ms. Martinez, who is now a mentor for the new team, and we're excited about that. We have them exploring and basically being at the center of their own learning, driving the learning and guiding what's next. And so thank you again to Mr. Garcia, Ms. Aldaz. They have been nothing but supportive, and we're excited about what's to come. So, and that's one of the themes that we had, animals and their habitat. Looking at connecting everything, you can see all the subject area, all the subjects connect, the content area, and through phase 1, which is a direct experience, taking us to phase 2, writing about the experience, and then
finishing with reading about the experience going from concrete to abstract, right? We know that's what's developmentally appropriate as children become biliterate and bilingual. Thank you.
I just, yeah. So last year, we started developing relationships with teachers, going into classrooms, and just working one-on-one. This year, what we're doing is specifically an approved research study where we will collect data in classrooms, we will provide coaching for teachers, and we will really help them understand how do I help young children develop their vocabulary. We believe that the foundation for their language, their social skills, their academics is in preschool. And so that's where we're starting that academic project where we want teachers to believe that young children have a lot to say, they have a lot to contribute, they can write, we know the drawing, they can write at their level. And so we're really getting teachers to engage them in their own inquiry projects so that children are excited and motivated about what's interesting to them, what's relevant to them. And then that just takes them forward. Thank you.
Very good, thank you.
And just wanted to say thank you so much to the faculty for using their research to support all educators and all students. And I now pass it on to Dr. Santos.
Thank you. Thank you again to all the professors. And before the meeting, Dr. Araguin and Dr. Alanis and I were talking about how interesting it will be to see these pre-K students that they worked with, how they do in kindergarten and what transfers, and we can follow them all the way through. So we're excited about that. And we're excited about Mr. Garcia's enthusiasm when we have professors on the campus. So we appreciate you, Mr. Garcia. Now that we've heard some of the current research projects happening on the campuses, I'd like for us to take a step back and revisit how the partnership began. On behalf of Dean Mario Torres, we would like to honor two of the founders of the 1882 partnership. Their dream of establishing a partnership has taken root. And I've got chill bumps. We are privileged to be a part of such a leading program at UTSA, where clinical teachers are prepared with master dual language teachers on these campuses. It is my pleasure to honor Doctora Belinda Bustos Flores. Would you please come up? I don't think she was expecting that. I forgot about this part. Thank you. It's a huge project. It's a huge.
Lock me out.
We locked her out. You got it. There we go.
Oh.
I
have my teacher voice. Well, I'm gonna say this was a mutual dream, ¿verdad, Olivia? When we started thinking about this, because our life commitment, I'm gonna say, is to better the education of our children, right, in our community. And the only way you achieve that is by attending to schools in a holistic manner. So it's having those great teachers, but also having researchers engaged in that school, learning about the best practices so that those can be shared. And also having our candidates, our clinical teachers embedded and creating this whole learning community that will move us forward in education. For too long, we've operated in isolation, what I'm gonna say, the institution of higher ed and school. Even though we partnered together, it was just like, okay, we're walking side by side. And with this dual language partnership, we said, we're gonna take each other's hands, vamos a tomar las manos, and we're gonna fold them together. We're gonna integrate and create that. Remember when you were in kinder, put your hand and here's a people and here's a steeple or whatever, I don't remember. And I was embarrassing me. You're gonna, my early childhood colleagues are gonna kick me out of early childhood if I ever tried to do anything. But it was that integration, mano a mano, holding hands, building on each other so that we could realize this dream. So thank you, and I'm very fortunate to have two wonderful people who are running the show, because it cannot happen. I mean, we can dream, but the structures have to be in place, ¿verdad? But the right people have to be in place, and I am so fortunate to have both Dr. Juanita Santos and now our new addition, Tara de la Garza, to come, and I'm looking forward to the next phase. I also want to thank the board for their commitment. It's, I mean, without a board to also guide us and say, no, have you thought this or have you done this? So again, the name of the dual language community lab schools is because it's a comunidad. And, you know, like they always say, el pueblo alcanza o llega where they want to go when you work together. So thank you.
Oh, wonderful. I just wanted to say, Dr. Flores, the depth of your knowledge regarding teacher preparation and the culturally efficacious educator continues to enrich the field of education. You are passionate, compassionate, and determined. Thank you for being a source of inspiration to all of us. Next, we would like to recognize Dr. Olivia Hernandez. Come on up, Dr. Hernandez. Dr. Hernandez recently retired from San Antonio ISD as the Assistant Superintendent of Bilingual ESL Migrant Programs. She was also over the English and Spanish programs district-wide. Dr. Hernandez, your vision for a robust dual language education changes the trajectory of the lives of thousands of students every day. Your spirit, your legacy remains, ma'am. Thank you for your commitment, your dedication, your advocacy, and love for emergent bilinguals and all students, and especially the field of education.
Very good.
You. UTSA and San Antonio ISD are very special in my heart. So I have a hard time speaking because it's hard to let go of such a beautiful institution. San Antonio ISD. Never did I ever think I was going to fall in love with the district so much. And I've always told the story that it was a full circle for me because my dad came to these schools, attended these schools in the 1930s, David Crockett and Margili. And so little did I know that I ended up in the district that my dad attended years ago. Mm-hmm. And dual language has been my passion for many years as a principal. All I need to do now is just get a tattoo or something. That is what I'm going to be dedicated for the rest of my career is dual language programs in districts across the state or across the nation and supporting San Antonio ISD, the 1882 schools in any way that I can. I'm just very passionate about this because I know that it's the best way all children can learn and that it's an enrichment program and that it's good for teachers. It's good for parents, and especially the best program that can be for all students, not just emergent bilingual students, but especially for them. I'm very passionate about learning how our kids learn how to read, and I'm so happy to see that there's a lot of research going on in our schools because we know that we still have a lot to learn about how it works. We know that teachers get very excited, administrators get very excited at the beginning, but when you start getting the accountability grades in third, fourth, and fifth, that's where the rubber hits the road. And that's when you really have to stay the course and keep on going. And Twain is an example
of a school, and Bonham is an example. All our schools are working really hard, and it can be done. It's important to understand that accountability will trump many of our programs, and it can be done. Because we know that in the long run, it's what's best for our students. So I want to thank Dr. Belinda Flores for always embracing the work that we do here at UTSA, Dr. Torres, and Esmeralda Guy, who is now overseeing the program. The program cannot be in better hands than this. Thank you for being there for the schools, and congratulations to for your appointment at Bonham. I know it's a great school, great community to be in. And thank you, everybody, for this opportunity. And thank you.
Thank you.
For your dedication.
Everything you've done.
It's also important to recognize that we share the backbone of this partnership in the form of many, many leaders. So starting with Dean Mario Torres, who oversees 3 research centers, 6 departments, and 5 strategic educational partners within the College of Education and Human Development, including the Dual Language Community Lab Schools Partnership. And he has provided us with tremendous support in the partnership. And the fun facts, there's a personal connection to dual language education, as his wife was a dual language teacher. We also want to recognize Associate Dean Belinda Flores, who oversees all the professional preparation programs and the strategic partnerships affiliated with the College of Education and Human Development. And as we just celebrated, is one of the primary architects of this 1882 partnership. We also want to recognize the Professor of Practice, Dr. Claudia Trevino Garcia. Present. And she has been critical to the success of the teacher preparation programs in her work with the clinical teachers. And we also look forward to the support and the visionary leadership of the San Antonio ISD new superintendent, Dr. Jaime Aquino. We are thrilled to collaborate with a master bilingual educator who holds close to his heart the success of his district's emergent bilinguals. And we also have Mr. Eric Wicker, who is the senior executive director of school improvement and a principal supervisor. And he comes to us with vast leadership experience and will now assist with the 1882 dual language partnership campuses. Mr. Wicker is here. Would you like to say a few words?
Here, let's put. Oh, I have a teacher voice too. I'll go principal cafeteria.
Cafeteria.
Just thank you, really. It's an honor. It's been an honor just to work for the past few weeks with Dr. Santos and get to know Sarah. Before I served 6 principals last year, I have 12 this year, and so the schools that I serve. Following in Olivia's footsteps is really hard to support schools the way she does, but it's an honor. She's lifted them up to such a great degree. It's just an honor to take them to the next phase in their success. And so Jeff and Bond has been a wonderful addition to that school. David over at Twain is the new school that's just dynamic. You talk about a school that's 90-90-90 in accountability. They've got a lot of great things going on, which is true by the work that's also happening in research. And then Gravener coming on and of course, Irving. We just have so many highlights in the dual language going on to those schools. And then across the district, Olivia and Esme have created such a wonderful program for students in the SAISD in our community. And it's just a great to be part of it. And so I look forward to working with the board, working with the team, and just so excited to be part of this great opportunity for the district and for the schools. So thank you.
Thank you.
And there's a few other individuals that we want to thank for their leadership. We'd like to thank the team within the Office of Professional Preparation and Partnerships who work very closely with us and ensuring that the clinical teachers are successful. And speaking of the clinical teachers, we need to thank them for their leadership as well, as they're the future of our of our profession and our field. And last but certainly not least, the faculties and staff at all our 1882 campuses. And we thank them for their courage and their unwavering support for our emergent bilinguals and who work hard every day for every child.
Next to the last slide, to conclude our meeting, I present to you the 2022-23 Dual Language Community Lab Schools principals.
And this concludes our first quarterly meeting. Gracias.
Well, I can tell you that this is incredibly impressive. Thank you, Dr. Santos and Dr. Garza, all to the honorees, to all those at the university, to the campus leadership, to those who are going to be doing our very critical research. This is very encouraging. As an educator with a number of years of experience, I can tell you that for schools to deal with change, they must be adaptable. And what we're seeing with 1882 agreements and this 1882 agreement is that adaptability to meet the needs of so many different children and to truly push and to create equity in our school. So thank you so very much. We have a lot of fun left to go. We'll now move to item number 7 on the agenda, governance item 7A, discussion and possible action to approval of the minutes of the UTSA Dual Language Community Lab Schools meeting here on September the 28th, 2021 and March 8th, 2022.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of the minutes.
Thank you, Dr. Katz.
Second.
And second, thank you, Dr. Gutierrez. Should call you by your second name. All right, it's been moved to second. Are there any questions on the minutes? And now for a vote, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the motion is approved. We will now move to item 7B on the agenda, discussion and possible action to approve the chair of the board for the 2022-23 school year. Is there a motion?
Dr. Middleton, I would like to present a motion to appoint Dr. Yvonne Katz as vice chairperson for all governing board meetings beginning August 24th, 2022 through August 24th, 2023.
Okay, the second?
Second.
All right, thank you, Mr. Gutierrez. All right, it has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions? Well, let's now move for the motion to be approved or to be voted upon. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion is approved. Congratulations, Dr. Katz.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Look forward to working with everybody.
I make a motion to approve Erica Lira Castro as chair of the dual language board for the 2022-2023 school year.
Motion has been made. Any second? I would like to
Second.
second that.
Second.
All right, second. Okay, Yvonne.
Yeah,
Me
second.
again. All right. It has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions on the nomination? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, and the motion carries. Congratulations.
Thank you. I look forward to serving as chair.
Fantastic. To see the hereby appoints as the vice chairman, you're now appointed of the 2022 Dual Language Governing Board. We'll now move to the next item, or did I skip that?
We flipped it.
We flipped it, but we can go down to 7D. Approval of the budget. You were 7D
Where am I on 7B?
or D.
Never to be one of fleet of foot. Let's see.
Yes, sir, right here. Sorry.
Thank you. So now go on to item 7D as in Delta. Discussion and possible action on approval of the 2022-23 UTSA Dual Language Community Lab Schools Partnership budgets for Graebner Elementary School, Bonham Academy, Mark Twain Dual Language Academy, and Washington Irving Dual Language Academy.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of all four budgets for all four of those schools.
The motion has been made. Second?
I second.
Second? Okay. Ms. Contreras seconds. Dr. Katz makes the motion. Are there any questions on the budgets? We have all four in motion and in the motion now. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed, the motion is approved. Okay, the Senate bill, the 1882 Dual Language Community Lab School Board hereby approves the budgets for the following schools of Graebner, Bonham, Mark Twain, and Washington Irving Dual Language Academies. We'll now move on to item 8 of the agenda, which is executive session. There are no items on the executive session, so we will skip that.
Chairman, may I ask a question on governance?
Absolutely.
I just have a quick question. I'm not sure under the 1882 partnership if other items that are in the Region 20 Superintendent or monthly calendar are items that we must approve. For August, it's the campus improvement plan. So I can send the link of the monthly reminders for superintendents, and I think we just need to cross-check and make sure that we're, as a board, approving the pieces that are required, like the charter first reading, audits, superintendent evals, handbook, but like which ones do we need to approve
Okay.
versus which ones SAIC approves?
That's going to be that's a very good point, because we are creating something new as we walk
That's right.
on this. And I think we need to know what are the appropriate things we need to also give approval to.
And
Thank you
with
so
that is
much.
also board training. So in April, we will need to report board training. I don't think the 1882 boards are absent of the board training requirements, and so we'll just need to have a plan for the required board training
Yeah.
hours.
Dr. Katz, I will throw that one at you.
Oh, thank you, sir. I'll accept.
Okay. Now we're on to the meeting dates. On item 10, discussion and possible action regarding the meeting dates for the partnership. Board meeting dates as of February the 22nd, 2022, and June the 21st, 2022.
Sorry.
Mr. Chair, move approval of the meeting dates
A little
for
late
20.
on that one.
Let me
Huh?
correct that. So I'm sorry, Dr. Katz, may I correct that?
Oh, okay.
Let me see this one.
Okay, all right,
I left it by accident.
okay. So I'm going to give you a new set of dates.
Okay.
It'll be December the 5th,
Yes.
2022, and July 25th, 2023.
Yes, sir.
Move acceptance of those two new dates there of December and July.
Yep,
I second, and just make a request for consideration that we move the location of these meetings to campus locations. I'm pretty sure possible.
so we can visit each campus.
And so parents can come to meetings.
That's an excellent idea.
Parents.
Yeah.
And bring that to them. All right. I tell you what, we can't write that in the motion at this point, but let's put that in
Right.
consideration. And Dr. Santos you and Dr. Katz will then work on a series of meetings at each campus then.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
All right.
Mr. Chair, that's just an administrative item that we'll take care of.
We can nail that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we-
I want to make sure that we. Let's hear Dr. Santos. If we can have it on sign. Let's double check on rules, because I do believe in meeting on the campus, but for some reason. There was something that we read into the rules that we asked David Thompson to. So let's look into the rules and make sure that we are complying. with
Okay.
the rules.
So we actually wrote in that this would be the meeting location or?
David Thompson helped us look at the rules.
Uh-huh.
Said we have to have them on campus, UTSA campus.
On UTSA campus, okay.
We could do an amendment if
We're
that's
not
the case.
opposed to having them on.
Yeah.
With having said that, we're not opposed to having them on the school campuses.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we're in, the regulation.
Yes.
Okay.
fine.
That's a good research topic. Then I quick kick that in again to you, Dr. Katz.
Okay, thank you again. I love it.
It'll be another fun one, but I think that's a very good idea for us to see, so if we can, if not, well, then we'll just design some meetings that we can go to and see
Right.
that. It's a very good point. I believe we have a motion to be made. Is there, anybody want to approve the motion or make the motion on December 5th, 2022?
that.
July 25th, 2023.
I made that motion.
I'm
before.
sorry, Dr. Katz.
Yeah.
Contreras seconds. All right, it's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, so we have 2 more meeting dates set up. Okay. We have now approved that, the calendar meetings for the next 2 dates, and then we'll work on those later on. And also check into where we should be, where we're allowed to meet. And then if we must meet at UTSA campus, which is fine, then we look at the idea of visiting the schools at some point in time. I know that Jeff will be more than happy to host us over there at Bonham, and Eric you can help up with all that. Okay. It's like I'm at a faculty meeting or something. I mean, at a principal's meeting. Anyway. All right. So any other business, any other comments? Excuse me. Of course, we have to be agendized. If not, then I want to thank everybody for coming this evening. It has been an absolute dream to see this program start. When I originally talked with Dr. Thompson and especially Dr. Flores, in seeing that the magic could happen. When you have a law before you that gives you such an opportunity, it is incredible to see how much it comes together and how many kids it's going to impact and for our future. So if there are no other further business items, this meeting now, and I will not call a vote. I will simply take the prerogative and say we are adjourned, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations to our new office. Yvonne.
Thank you. Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you for all your hard work, Richard.
Thank you. Enjoyed it.
Thank you, Juana. Thank you so much. This is Ellen Host Clark. It's an interesting meeting. Thank you.
Sure. All those items.
Dr. Clark, we didn't, can you hear us, Dr. Clark?
Superintendent.
Yes.
for the
Yes,
month.
I can.
And START is the board governance stuff, so I sent it to Dr. Simon.
Anyway, I just want to thank you for inviting me.